Hey, True Believers, Englentine here with another few, how should I say, I gotta come up with a name for this one, don't you think? Anyway, I got a few reviews here. We got the Loki Unleashed Avengers special, then we're gonna head over and talk about, I'm still in the same place. Then we're gonna be talking about Alien Rescue and Action Comics 1015, the Bogus 1000. Anyway, I hope you enjoy, so kick back, relax, and let's get this party started. Starting off with a look at the cover, we've got all of the Avengers punching Loki. Well, except for Thor, because we know that would end the fight. But I gotta say, I don't know, Captain America, he's just not looking powerful here. I don't know. It's just, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And let's get on with the story. Okay, so right off the bat, I have to admit, I got a little bit excited. We got Roger Stern on the writing, Ron Lim on the art. Okay. This is going to be a throwback. Let's see how it is. Because sometimes, you know, we're like, oh, wow, I want a comic book exactly like it was when I was younger, when I was more excited about the storyline, and we think the comics have changed, and we haven't. And let's face it, we have, to the point where sometimes we read stuff that we loved when we were younger, only to find out it's a bit childish. So I am kind of happy to report this is good. No, it's not great. It's not excellent. This isn't going to take people by storm, and the fact that we're not talking about it a week after its release, it didn't. But I'm pretty sure that those who did buy it found it to be quite the 1980s throwback. It really is. It's got kind of a silly plot. It's got a silly story to go along with it. The melodrama that would come with the 1980s comic books as well is there. If you're looking for a good throwback, not a caricature of what we thought 1980s comics are, which is sometimes what we get when people say, I want the comic books of the past, and they put it out and it's big splash pages and it looks like it could come from Rob Liefeld or something like that. This is a legitimate 1980s comic book, along with the dialogue and the words, the whole 9 yards. If you really do pay attention to 1980s comics, there was a lot of dialogue. There was a lot of character, and if the writer was good enough to remember to add characterization rather than just have them talking about things. Because a lot of times, the only dialogue you would get is about what's going on in the plot. And this, I'm happy to say you don't. And yes, my bird's back, so it's going to be on a lot of videos, by the way. So the art is good. Got to give it up. In some place, it's a little bit weaker. Faces in the background. It has always been one of the worst things when it comes to comic book art. Some people just cannot do it, and I'm afraid Lim kind of falls short in some places as well here. Not that it's all bad. Like I said, it's pretty decent. And if you're looking for a throwback to 1980s, it does work in that capacity. Overall, I would recommend that, yeah, I could recommend this book if you could find it not so expensive. I wouldn't pay, you know, $5, $6, $7, you know, this is definitely something you get at cover price or less. And yes, I know that might sound like a very shaky recommendation, but I've got to be honest. It's good. If you're looking for a throwback, it will do that particular job. But while it's entertaining and while it's enjoyable, I don't think that you're going to be remembering it too much longer after you're done reading it. Next up, we have Alien Rescue. And once again, we start off looking at the cover. I don't understand what's going on here. It's a good cover, but because of as far as the art's concerned, about the sense of dread, but because of the muted colors, it just doesn't stand out. This, in my opinion, is a little bit of a wasted opportunity for something, and that's sad because of what the book actually holds. Alien Rescue, story by Brian Wu and art by Kieran McKeown. Okay, before we get going, I do have to admit that I am not an avid reader of the Aliens comics. I've read a lot of first issues just to do like an independent review or something like that, but not a lot of follow through afterwards. Not because I didn't like it, it's just because if you read a whole bunch of things, sometimes I just go and I fall to just reading number ones of independent comic books. This story does start off with a backstory of this is what happened in the previous issue, and they use the dialogue between the two characters to tell us, so it doesn't get boring. It's not repetitive. It's not an exposition dump, even though they are giving us a lot of exposition. I think this way is just done more exciting. This made me intrigued about the miniseries that came before it. And I do have to admit, the whole bit about his origin, the Marine, we're following this Marine who got rescued in a previous miniseries. It comes out of nowhere, and it kind of stops the story dead. They try to put in a little message there about the environment, and it falls. It's very clunky, and it just doesn't fit. On the other hand, I think this isn't a bad idea because it does do some world building. It gets us on the side of this person who we're going to be following around. I think it's a great idea. I just thought it was poor execution because they tried to add in not just this is who the person is, but don't run your water while you're brushing your teeth kind of bullcrap. Not that they actually say that. I'm just adding in. They do environmental messages where it didn't need one. On that being said, though, I think it's really good world building. This whole comic book is done very well as far as the world building is concerned. We don't get a lot of interaction with the aliens or anything. This is all about the Marine and about how he's going up through the ranks and how he's getting back into things where he's, at this point, fighting bugs. Not necessarily the xenomorphs that we know, but they're on a planet that's fighting bugs. It's Mars. As soon as they made the air breathable and they brought down the temperatures or brought up the temperatures, the bugs came out and started attacking man. And from there, we get the idea that he's going to go off and fight the xenomorphs. All in all, I liked this book a lot, and I do want to follow through on this one because I just want to see how it ends. Next up, we have Action Comics number 1015, and we start off with a cover, and this cover sucks. Look at the way Naomi's drawn. With the size of those legs, with the size of the body, the whole thing, she should be like 15 freaking feet tall. The head on top of those shoulders, it looks like Rob Liefeld's wettest dream right here. She's got a head that looks like it's the size of a penny. The proportions are way off on this picture. Way off. Horrible cover. But at least the story's good, right? It is told in the perspective of Naomi. We're getting that at least. And as she's basically flying, trying to find Superman and Batman and all of them. And she's having a hard time controlling her powers, and at least that's decent, which is kind of weird because she literally one-punched her villain in the last issue of her miniseries. I thought that was... you get that a lot. We want to show you how badass the hero is, so they make it so nothing's really a problem for them. Brian Michael Bendis is very good at this. I just don't like Brian Michael Bendis. You know this. And yet he does it for her here, so it's kind of confusing. A lot of what is good about this book comes from the fact that you have Superman and Batman checking Naomi out, and they're like, okay, new person on the block, eh? Well, let's see what we could do for you. And that, their parental instincts, I guess. At one point, even Superman says, well, he's got a lot of experience working with young people. That's what comes off as charming here. That's what comes off as good and entertaining. And that, I think, saves the book from being bad. It's not, or at least horrible, I should say. It's not great. It's not good. It's, at this point, I think I'm a little bit biased, though. So take this with a grain of salt. I'm not a fan of Brian Michael Bendis, although I have been liking his work on Action Comics better than I have on the Superman titles. So at least there's that to say. But I have to say, it's going to take a lot for him to convince me that he's writing a good book. But yeah, like I said, to be honest and to be fair, the interaction between Batman and Naomi, I liked. I think he got characters right in that instance, at least. Even to the point of a smile from Batman when she says something. It's something we don't normally see, that Batman the human side of Batman. And I think it's captured here. You got to give credit where credit is due. I want to recommend this book, but there's still so much not. It just seems to go against what we saw in Naomi #6. I don't know. Maybe I should. Maybe I should say, you know what? Yeah, okay. This is a pretty decent book because in this book he gets Naomi right rather than in Naomi #6 where he got it wrong. There you go. I'll be a little bit wishy-washy on it. So there you go, guys. Those are the reviews. Action Comics 1015. I'm not going to recommend, but I didn't think it was horrible. Avengers Loki Unleashed is a lot of fun if you're looking for 80s nostalgia. I think you're going to find it in that comic book, but the big winner is Alien Rescue, in my opinion. I can legitimately say that was a good book. Not bad, I guess. For Marvel, DC still has to come up with a winner for me. But there you go. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to click like and share, subscribe if you haven't done it already. But more importantly, make sure that your notifications are on all and ring that bell so you don't miss anything. Cool things happen around these parts. And if you don't mind helping out the channel, go on over to Ko-Fi or to Patreon. Drop $1 in the tip jar there. Or if you want, you can commission a video. Just pick your subject, pick your topic, and there you go. I'll get the video out to you ASAP. I'd like to thank everybody who's already done that, and to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.